communicate better with people by knowing the knowledge that Sara has to share. So you guys are going to have so much information. Take it and run with it. Have Sara come back in September to a little bit more information, but also to bring some stuff. So share everything that you and tell people to be now as in September. So I'm going to mute so Lindsay and Laura can run with it. Sara, Sara and Lindsay can run with it. Lindsay is, she's like one of our top stars, so she can run with you guys. Just go back and forth, and I'll be here if I can to answer questions.
Super. Thanks, Debs. Hi there. Is my screen sharing? Yes, I think I can. Shall I just get going? What do you reckon, Lindsay? Yeah, great, perfect.
Yes, please.
All right, so I'm just going to share my screen here. Bear with me 2 seconds. There it is. Lovely. Good. All right. So I think everyone can see this now. Hello. My name's Sara. Some of you might have met me last month when I did face reading hacks. So understanding your clients' imprinted habits. So we're doing a little refresher, but we've got some new stuff today as well about how to support your agents too. I'm really excited to be back and really enjoyed sharing last time. So I really enjoy sharing again today. I have had an end of a cold, so bear with me. My throat, I might be drinking some water throughout. My throat doesn't want to always speak so well, but I'm going to do my best. So who am I? My name's Sara Elcombe. I run a company called Let's Face It. So if you were here last month, you might have known I said it called Heal, but I was in transition. So my company's now called Let's Face It. I'm a face reader, acupuncturist and coach. I've worked with people and bodies for a very long time, for over 25 years. And from a background of massage, reflexology, acupuncture, coaching, I'm here to help people energetically, working with their mind, body, and spirit, and helping people really thrive. Because of my nature of my work, I've really started with that healthcare area. So people coming to me with aches, pains, physical problems, and then mental and emotional problems are always underlying. And that's why I've worked the way I have. And more importantly, I've really understood how much the life is affecting on health. So you can't have a good health without good life, and vice versa. The exciting is to be more readily reading. So a lot of my one-to-one. So face reading offers me the opportunity to work one-to-one, but also to be able to share all this incredible knowledge and wisdom about the energetics of how we are in ourselves and how we can observe people to help create connections and build those rapports and connections with your clients and your team too. So it's an entrepreneurial tool for you to connect with your clients and reach and guide your agents as well. So face reading, what is it? It's a question that comes up a lot. So here in the UK, where I'm based, there is not that many people that are doing this. It's well known in the US. Maybe you've heard of it in Canada too as well. So it's background of Chinese medicine, 5-element philosophy, and my teacher's Liam Pearl Bridges family lineage taught as well. So with any one-to-one appointment, I can understand your tendency towards behavioral patterns, personality traits, past traumas, and emotional blockages. The other thing I find so brilliant about face reading is how validating it is, which is incredibly missing in our society. Validation of your strengths, your unique talents and abilities, and an insight into your true nature. So I think that's such a gift to be able to share with people. I focus with an initial appointment with whatever comes up in that moment in time, but also can be led by working with career, health, relationships, life path, purpose, and direction. And this also now, with this opportunity to share face reading more widely, it's really helpful to share knowledge about people's faces and guide those that want to know more about recruitment, athletic selection, if you're in that kind of world, matchmaking, if you needed it, self-development, and understanding your clients in healthcare and sales. The brilliant reason for this, of sharing the face reading, is the power of face reading, is how you get to know your clients before they have said a word. And that's what's really beautiful, is like being able to see someone, see their face, know what's going on, and work with them, as opposed to, right, we must get in there, try and tear it around. And also with your team as well, which is a lovely, lovely thing to be able to do. So that's a little bit about face reading, and I'm so excited to be able to share that, the knowledge, the power to be able to help you with your clients. So questions and appointments. So pop any questions in the chat, as Deborah just mentioned, and now Lindsay will be handling these. And I'll be happily answering any questions at the end. If you're interested in receiving a face reading or want to know a bit more about it, leave your email in the chat and I'll send a message your way. Or simply just email me at heal@saraelcombe.com. This will come back at the end of the session, so we will be able to revisit that email address as well. So before we get going, and I always offer this if you're interested, and you don't have to, but what I like to do is, while I'm sharing this information, it's not an intellectualization or trying to figure out formulas and, you know, write loads down. This is more of allowing everything to be absorbed into you. Just really let it come in and wash over you, as it were. So I'm going to be back again, as I said, so you can revisit, refresh. And as of last month, that will be the same thing, that some of these people are here now. So it'd be really good. So if you wish to, and I invite you to, if you want to, you can stay seated, but if you want to stand up, because if you're anything like me, you've probably been in your head and been at the desk for hours. So just to clear the mind and clear the body, if you wish to, stand up and just allow the body to come for a little shake. So I did this last time. You can stay in your chair. You don't have deads. You can be carefully doing it, driving, shake the hands, shake the legs, give a little bounce, maybe get anything out that's really been bothering you today, but just allows a little bit of movement. Get your head out, get you into your body. So once you're ready, you can keep doing this, keep going for as long as you want, just a little bit of motion to bring you back into your body, because this is what we're connecting with: energy, energetics, the body, and letting it come in. Okay, let's start. So today we're going to be working with the aspect of the free zones, and this is going to be about decision making. And sorry, bear with me. I seem to have a problem with my computer. Well, I don't know what's going on here. No, not yet, not yet. Bear with me 2 seconds. Lindsay, you got it still? Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure what's happened there, but it sort of changed.
Yep,
I stood up and it all changed. Okay.
It's back now.
We're back again. So the 3 zones, we're going to learn a little bit about, so we're going to learn about how yourself first. So this is the session where we're going to talk about how you are going to be. So you're going to see aspects that perhaps resonate. You're going to sit here and think, oh my God, that sounds like me. And also you might recognize friends and family. And just a reminder that face reading is only given to anyone over the age of 25. So if you have young children, this is not people that you're going to be face reading. They're still growing into their face. So this is more about you learning about yourself. And you'll probably maybe have a client or two that you go, oh, it sounds like them. It really recognizes it. So the free zones give the clues to a person's decision making. And we going to learn how to observe their distinctive or largest features, and offer some communication tips there. Make a client feel seen and understood, because that creates connection. And what's really important here is the connections create trust, and trust equals sales. So we crack on. Here we are with the free zones. So we've got the zone 1 here, is the mental zone. So we've got from the hairline to the top of the eyebrows. And this is the mental zone or the heaven zone. This is where all the thinking gets done. There's a lot of energy that sits up here. And then we've got the zone 2. So it's from the top of the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose. The largest feature here is the nose. And the width of this area is something you'll be able to see. So this is the human zone. This is what we're seeing. This is what we're trying to make sense of the world. And then at the bottom, we've got the zone from the bottom of the nose down to the underside of the chin. And this is zone 3, the earth zone. So this is us into our body, really getting a sense of what it feels like, what might be coming up. So this is the basic free zones. And we're going to go into them in a little bit more detail with each one. So zone 1, we'll start with the mental zone, the heaven zone, the thinking zone, and the feature here is the forehead. It's the size of the forehead, and as I say, hairline to the top of the eyebrows. So these people, and I'm one of them, that's not that I'm great at thinking, I'm good at thinking, I do it a lot, but great at thinking, processing, and potentially overthinking. I certainly do that a lot. So there takes time, these people take time to make decisions. There's a lot of energy that comes up here. There's a kind of an enjoyment sometimes. You're like, oh, let me have a mull over that. I'd like to think about that later. There's a kind of energy that wants to sit up here whirling over. These people also like to research. So if they're purchasing a product, they are going to do their research. They're going to go around town. They're going to go into the other services, use Google endlessly, and then also write perhaps pros and cons lists, and to find out what's going to be working. Is it worth it? So there's an analytical nature about really figuring things out. These people like to spend a lot of time in their mind, and they sort of have they're drawn to imagination. So they have a really great way to sort of see it, visualize it, think about it. And that's really fantastic. So if you have products that you're selling, you can say, well, imagine if you were like this, or if you were like that. So you can use this for somebody that's in their mental zone if they have not all got there already first. The flip side of good imagination is they're prone to catastrophization. So there could be a lot of fears. They'll be like, but what, I could use this product. We could go here, do this with it. But also, what if it doesn't work? And what if it's not reputable? What if it breaks down? What if it's not good for me? And there could be a lot of fear that sits. And this is why it takes a lot of time for these people to make decisions, and not quick. And it will just be sitting up, let me think about it some more, let me speak to some more people, let me read the reviews. But also I'm drawn into the idea of what it could be. So these are kind of nice ways to do this. So I've just shared with you, I'm definitely a lovely zone 1, and here's some other people that are of the zone 1 variety. So we've got some images. So for those people that have been before, I've seen some of these, I've added a few new faces in as well. But all 3 of these people have the upper zone. So that's almost like I always think there's some light behind it. You can read it sort of shines up a bit more. The gentleman on the left-hand side with the freckles, you can see that his zone 1 is not only is it high, but it's also wide. It's wider than his cheekbones and his jaw. So it's wider than zone 2 and 3. The lady in the middle, hers protrudes as well. So we've got this really rounded forehead. So we can really notice that she's someone who would be liking to do a bit of research, perhaps. The lady on the right, again, equally, her forehead is really quite tall or long. So that really gives us a sense of their zone 1, their thinking people. We've got some more pictures here, some brilliant ideas or images here that share these zone 1s. I like the gentleman on the left, the black and white picture. The focus of this studio picture is his eyes, captured by his eyes. But actually, if you measure, and you can use your fingers to do this, measure zone 2 and the zone 3, actually it's zone 1 that's much bigger. They're really quite small, that zone 2 and zone 3. The lady in the middle, lovely rounded, big forehead right up there. So she's someone who's really maybe has a great imagination, likes to think a lot, perhaps. And the gentleman on the right also with the spectacles, he has a lovely zone 1, really a lot of energy. And again, it's that light. You can kind of, your eyes drawn to that part of their face. We've got a couple of more pictures, the two gentlemen either side, and of course the puppy dog. I don't know what zone he is, maybe a 2 because of his big nose, but but the two gentlemen have either receding hair or no hair. And when there is receding or thinning hair or no hair, this is automatically means that we're coming into a zone 1 character. So you can see the gentleman on the left with the black tie. He has a lovely, again, beautiful head and zone 1 there. He's got strong features, but it's zone 1 that you're drawn to. And again, the gentleman on the right, there's a lot of fire in the mind. So a lot of energy that comes up here, hence perhaps with thinking lots and lots of imagination. So there's a lot of energy that sits up in the forehead, hence why anyone that's without hair will be automatically seen as a zone 1. The gentleman in the middle as well, he's got a little bit of facial hair. So you can't clearly see the bottom of his chin, but you've got a good idea of where it is. And again, you're going to have people with facial hair, maybe with fringes, hair. So you might not always see their face fully and clearly. Again, when people have got anything covering their face, you're hiding a little bit of yourself. So it's kind of good to just be aware that you are not going to have everyone with their hair scraped back and clean shaven. But you have got a sense that perhaps this is an area that you might be drawn to with his zone 1. Okay. So what does we've seen the zone 1s, we know what they look like. So we've got the head and the forehead that we're looking for, the size, the way that it stands out, but also we can start to listen to what these people say. So these are the people that might talk, and their language will be items around, I was thinking, or here's an idea, here's a thought, I was wondering. That's how they're going to start a sentence and perhaps talk about what it is that they're thinking of doing. So you might want to speak their language, because again, speaking someone's language means that they feel seen, they feel understood, they feel like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, you really get me. I want to work with you. So you might want to say, well, here's some information on our product. Why don't you go away, have a think about it, perhaps maybe have a sleep on it. I'll come back to you. So this is us allowing us to say that we understand that you want to take some time to think it over, to process it, to digest it, to review it, and so on. But these people really want to, or really do need to take the time to make the right decision for them. So be thorough with all the information you give as well. So if these people, whatever product it is, and if there's lots of small print, and maybe go over that, maybe share it with them or highlight it so they can see that you're thinking about them and that they would value that. So these people need to make time to make the right decision, be thorough, and don't push them either, because if you want them to sign here and now, they're not going to do it. These people really do want to just go, okay, all right, I won't bother. I'll leave because you're pushing me too much. So these people need the time to just draw it in, think about it, take it in. And also if there are any fears as well, and you can actually ask them this, is there anything that concerns you about this product? This is something that I might be able to help reassure you. I'd like to make sure that I could do that. So this is a really good way of connecting with zone 1s. Again, that connection building trust, so that there's more of that energy walking into a sale. So we're going to go into, so yes, of course. And I did a zone 1 famous person, so you've got an idea. And this is Damon Wayans. He's a famous actor and comedian in America. And he's automatically in the zone 1. He's no hair. But also, even if he did have hair, you can see how high his forehead is. So perhaps he's got a great imagination and is really great at research too. So this is a good image to remind ourselves of what we're looking for. So zone 2s. These are the people that we were just mentioned. So it's from the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose, top of the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose. And these are the practical, the human zone, the assessing zone. And the main feature here is the nose, okay? You're going to zone into more of the middle of their face. These people are very business-like. There is a lot of common sense. And they're always trying to make sense of the world. They're seeing it like, how does it work? What is going on, And this is how they make decisions, with understanding, well, what's the problem? And here's the solution. What can I do to make this work? They love a bargain, and they love to save time, money, and energy. That's really important for these people. So they prefer to make sure they're going to get some deal. Can I do it quickly? And do I have to exert anything for that? So they're really practical and efficient. And they like practical and efficiency as well. So they are practical and efficient, but they also like it. And because of the way that they see the world, they are going to not overthink about it and need time. So their processing is a little bit quicker. If it makes sense and it saves them time, money, and energy, then yeah, I think I'm going to sign on the line. So just knowing, is this person here in front of me more of that zone 2? Then how is it we can help them? What's their problems? How can we help them with a solution? So here are some images of some lovely zone 2s. And as you can see, really different across the board of what we've just seen with zone 1s. We can start with the gentleman in the middle, and this is a great example. His nose, immediately you go to this center of his face. Also you can just see how small his zone 1 is. So we've just been seeing all these huge foreheads, and now we've got a really small zone 1. The two ladies either side, they've got, you're drawn straight into the middle of their face, their top of their eyebrows to the bottom of their nose. This is the area here that you're really can see. And these are people who are going to be researching, are going to be more using their common sense and finding a bargain, perhaps. We've got some lovely pictures here. The gentleman on the left, the black and white, again, a really strong, big nose. So we've got that zone 2. It's a really wide zone, and his decision making is finding solutions to problems, perhaps, or being practical and efficient. The lady on the right-hand side with the red hair, you can kind of see the side profile of that as well. And the lady in the middle, really lovely, strong zone 2 features. And a few more faces as well that have this zone 2. These are people that are practical, efficient. They love to save time, money, and energy. And again, you can measure the lady in the middle, perhaps just with your fingers. What's her forehead, eyebrow to hairline, and then below that, and then measure the size of the nose, that zone 2. This is someone who is looking at the world and making decisions in what makes sense. So zone 2 people, these are the people you're going to listen to. So you've already captured, oh, okay, this is an area that's a lot bigger here. I can get a sense of what this person might be like in the world, out there in the world, and how they might make their decisions. So these are the people that are going to say, oh, I see, how does this work? Or what do I get out of this? So listening to what they're saying, what makes sense? How does this work? These might be questions that they will be coming up with. So perhaps there's words to connect with them, again, creating that connection to speak their language. Does this make sense? Well, what works for you? Or I can save you X, Y, Z. So these are really helpful things to say to these people, because they're really going to like, oh, wow, you've listened to, you really know who I am. I want to work with you. And this is all subconscious as well. This is not consciously thinking. So top tip is, can you make your product very practical and efficient for them? So here is a place where you can perhaps look at exploring, can I save you create a bargain? Can I save you some time and energy? What is it, perhaps even asking them, what is the problem that you have and how can I find a solution for you? So finding out what is it that they're trying to get in the first place can be really helpful as well. So getting them to making it a practical and efficient experience for them would be really helpful. So famous person, zone 2, Penelope Cruz. Again, this is just a nice little drop in to see someone out there in the public eye. Perhaps she's very businesslike with her agents and doing films and whatever that she ends up doing that makes sense to her. That's got to save her some time, money, and energy. And yeah, she's got a great zone 2, strong middle features. Again, you're drawn straight to the middle of her face. So zone 3s, these are the last of the zones. So these are the intuitives, the earths, the instinctual zone. And the main area here is the chin. So this is from the bottom of the nose to the underside of the chin. And here we're looking at this area, this zone 3. So connecting in with the earth energy. So this is emotional, instinct, and intuition. So these are the people that just know things. They just know what's right for them. They know what to do, where to go. They trust their gut and they make those decisions on that basis. So because of that, they're really quick to make decisions. They really quickly can say, yes, I want to do this. I want to do that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to take this. They also act on impulse and desire as well. So these are people that can be impulsive with their decision making. It's like all of a sudden, right, want it now, quick, quick, quick. Or they can take their time and be very instinctive, like just knowing this is where I want to go. So these are people who, with the chin is our will. So this is how we survive. This is our instinct. This is what our intuition is. And then the lips, which play an important part of this half, or this quarter, this third rather, the lips or the mouth is your impulse and your desire. So your desire to speak and your impulse to eat food, this is where we can be impulsive. So if they have a large chin and large lips, you probably could sense that zone 3 will be quite impulsive with their purchasing, or they have a tendency towards that. So just knowing that we have our will and our instinct and our desires with our mouth. So let's have a look at some pictures here. And this is great pictures of these lovely people with zone 3. And we can see here the lady on the left, again, really big, strong chin. And it's very clear that she's on the zone 3. The zone 2 and zone 1 are of similar size, but zone 3, she's really clearly there. Smaller mouth though, so maybe less impulsive. The gentleman in the middle has a lovely, strong lips, mouth, and a really strong chin. His features are really strong in first place, but it's the mouth, the bottom part of the face that you're drawn to. So maybe more impulsive. And the lady on the right-hand side, a side profile. So you can measure zone 2 and zone 1 there. You can just see how much bigger that zone 3 is for her. Oh, I love this one. Those who've been here before will have seen this before. I love these two. They're so cute. And I just found these and I felt really important to share this. So these are two older people with really strong chins, really good, solid intuition. And these are people that will listen to their intuition. They will listen to their wisdom of their body, of what they know, and then will make their choices. Now, reason why I've chosen two older people is because there's many chances that you can change your face and you can grow a chin. It sounds bizarre, but it's true. And you can grow your intuition and become more intuitive. And the other side of this as well is that people, as they age, can be less having to think about their decisions or their choices and less trying to make sense of it because they have a lived experience. They fall more into the wisdom of what they already know. So you're less overthinking a situation, less trying to make sense of it, and just listen to your intuition. So you can have a look at pictures of family members, so perhaps parents or grandparents from as they were younger to where they get older, and just have a look. Has their arc of their face changed? Have their zones changed? And that tendency to grow a chin as you get older, because you just know yourself more, you know what you want to do, what you need, and how to do it. So this is kind of a lovely way of seeing this in these two beautiful people here. And as I say, growing a chin is about practicing your instinct and intuition. And another factor which I really like is my teacher would say, her theory was that people with a good, strong third zone are generally more happier because they're not trying to overthink something, and they're not trying to make sense of it. They just know. So you know yourself, you know what decision to make for you. So it's something to explore if you find that interesting, and practicing your intuition. And maybe that's a workshop one day that we could play with. But these two, again, strong people with strong instinct there. And the last three pictures here, different faces. Again, they're showing the gentleman on the left with the green t-shirt. Again, really strong chin there. The lady in the middle has no hair, but she has, clearly shaved her hair. So it's showing a full face here, but you can see that mouth and that chin really is strong. And the gentleman on the right with the big smile, big mouth, big chin, and he's someone who just knows what he wants and is going to act on it very quickly. So the zone threes, we know what they look like now. So we've got the mouth, the chin, this area here that's bigger. And then we're going to listen to their words. And the words that they're going to say is something like, oh, what I feel, I'm vibing, and it seems to be, or my gut says, my impression is. So they're literally not talking about thinking or problems. They're talking about an energy. It's like a tone or a frequency. My gut, the impression, vibe, feeling. That's the words that they're going to be using. And from here, they're going to talk about how do you, using their language, you can say things like, well, how do you feel about this product? Or I have a hunch you might like this, or I get a sense you already know what you would like. So again, you'll create that connection by using their language. Top tip for these people is they will know immediately. So they tend to just know what they want immediately. So if your product and they've already chosen something, you might want to say, well, you might want to try this one, but it's kind of, don't worry about it, that you're not going to do anything to change their mind. They just know what they want. And then, or equally, if they choose not to go with that product, and they might turn around and say, well, actually, I'm going to say no for now. You've used their language, you've created a connection, and you can just check in with them in a couple of months. And depending on who they are, but they might be very impulsive as well, that in that 2 months' time, they will know exactly what they want and jump on something. So all is not lost if they say no. That's what I say. But they do know what they know in that moment in time. So our last picture here is a picture of Jay Leno. American presenter. I'm not sure if he does this job anymore, but again, he's a very clear candidate for a zone 3. And you see, not a huge mouth though, but so maybe less impulsive, but very instinctive. And a little other tip here, can you see how his chin comes up? It's like a banana. Is that the right word? I don't know. But his chin sort of, and we call it the witch's chin, so it comes up a little bit. If you have someone, and maybe this is you or a family member or someone the chin comes up a little bit, these people are quite stubborn. This is a stubborn Jay Leno. So if he knows, he ain't budging. Like, is this what he's going to do? He's going to have it my way. I'm going to do it my way. And I just think that's a nice little extra for you. Doesn't involve it, change your clients, but it does just give you some information there. So we have covered the 3 zones, and we're going to cover now a little bit of equal zones and what we call zone wars. So you might sit there thinking, oh, well, I'm not zone 1, 2, or 3, or, we're not so clearly defined as that. So some people have equal zones. You've got 1, 2, and 3 that are all equal. Their features are quite similar in size. These similar size thirds as well. These are people that could tend to have confusion when making decisions. And until a person learns to feel what alignment feels like, it can be confusing to take that time to make a decision. But I think that most people with equal zones would have had that practice in their younger years to have that finding of what alignment feels like. So they think, sense, and feel. So it will be like it joined up thinking. But again, you'll see those features. It won't stand out with 1, 2, or 3. It will just look like an even, the even zones. The other side of things is zone wars. So 2 zones can line up and cause a decision war. So, for example, I already mentioned I'm a zone 1. I'm also zone 3. So I have the way I know what's right for me, but I can totally overthink the situation and talk myself out of it. When this comes around, you lose opportunities. But again, it's just a knowing that this is possible. So there's a knowing and a thinking here. Zone 1 and 2, so that's 1 with the foreheads, 2 with the nose and the middle zone. And these people have great vision, have great imaginations to think things through, but also really solve those practical problems and having planning skills as well. So they are very practical and efficient, but might think about quite a lot of how that might work out for them. And also 2 and 3, these are people with the zone 2 here in the middle, and the 3, these people could be impulsive, but also how can they save time, money, and energy. So some images here of what that might look like. And we've got the gentleman on the left. It almost looks like he's come out of the shower or he's been rained on. I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, his face is a great example of zone 1, 2, and 3. You can use your fingers again if you want to measure his head. So forehead to eyebrows, eyebrows to bottom of the nose, and nose to the bottom of the chin. They're pretty even. So he might be someone who really falls into alignment to tune into making those decisions for himself. And or maybe there's some confusion. It takes him a little while to know what's lining up. The gentleman in the middle, I think, is a good candidate for a zone 1, zone 2. So he's really great at thinking and planning out there, fixing problems and solutions, but, having a good think about things, doing some research about that. And the lady at the bottom, in the middle, great zone 1, 3 again. So maybe has an instinct, maybe some impulsivity there. She's got quite large lips. But maybe overthinks herself out of opportunities. And the lady on the right, again, is a good example of zone 2 and zone 3, where she will be maybe listening to her instincts, but also finding a bargain, liking to find a bargain. So we have the end of our zone, the decision making for our clients, zones. So there might be some of you here that are that have attended from last month, and you might have had some time to play around. And I didn't know if you had any questions, but equally, if you wanted to share an experience or any of your stories so far with this. If you want to, feel free to, then pop it in the chat. As I said, Lindsay will be able to connect with that. If there's not, then that's fine, we can carry on.
Peter just said, I love to think, and I love to think too. So I think I'm a very strong numero uno. And yeah, no, it's fascinating. I wasn't able to make it to the first one. I was seating, but
well, you've got loads of time to go and play with this one now as well. So yeah, you're right. It's a great thing to take in, and yeah, it's good to know what zone you're falling into as well, what one you resonate with. But thank you, Lindsay. That's great. Okay.
I don't think there are any more questions, so we will truck right along.
Yeah, we will do indeed. Fab. All right, so we're going to move on to now. We've been client focused, and now we're going to be agent focused. So this is knowing your agent and face shapes. So slightly different focus now. By the way, although we were client focused, you can use clearly, you understand the decision-making process for your team as well. So, once you have this knowledge and it seeps in and it gets more into you, then the more you'll be able to use that with anyone. But we're going to focus here with our agents, with your team, and have understand the face shapes of people to give you an understanding of what kind of people and how to work with them, how best to work with these people. So my teacher would talk about, again, the frame of the face. So the face shape being the frame of the face. When I do a reading, I do not look at frames of face. I look at the picture, so all the contents inside. And that tells me a lot about who I'm working with and what they might need to hear in that time. But frames are really good in this example because they're useful indicators to match people to certain professions, and also to learn about how you might work in a profession, for example. So an idea here is a broader the face, so broader the face, stronger the bone, and there's appearance for them to be more extrovert, and a stamina for socializing. Narrower face, and my face is particularly narrow, there's a finer bone, they appear more introvert, and they need more quiet time, and they work in spurts. That is me to a T, by the way. I really do need all those things to operate in the world. That's my face shape as well. And then how much you can see on the face as well. So as a small child, we have, and a baby, I mean, before you could even speak, the first thing you were doing was looking at a face and understanding what's going on there. Is it good? Is it bad? Am I in trouble? Am I not? And this understanding, we're subconsciously taking this in all the time. So how much you can see of the face is really important. So if you have bangs or sunglasses, hats on, and it's really fashionable to have lots of facial hair and big bushy beards, but these can also be seen as you hiding. So if I can't really see myself, I don't really know what you're really saying, what your true interaction is. So that's a secretive sense, and it can feel a bit scary to kind of go, I don't know what's going on there. But the more you can see of someone's face, the more you can see what they're about as well. And I think that's always helpful to know that if you are client focused or team focused, so showing your face or having it clearly there, not hiding it for as much as you can, is always helpful. Again, everything is good to be who you want to be as well at the same time. But I'm just giving you in terms of face shapes and seeing your face in the face reading aspect. So how we evaluate the face, so we're looking at the temples, the cheekbones, and the jaw. And again, this will become more clearer when we see the images. But we've got those are the areas that will define what shape the face is. It's these 3 markers. So this is the square face. So these are the leaders or athletes. And as you can see, there's an image here of Winston Churchill, who has a very square face. And as you can see, it's as wide as it is long. That's a square for you. So it's got the width of it as well as the length of it. And this is a person who is, and before, when I was searching for this image, because there's lots of images in the top hat. So when we won the war, top hat with the cigar and with the V sign. So it took me a while to find this picture that it didn't have a hat on. And so you could really see the square. What was interesting is that I saw images of him when he was much younger, like in his 20s. His face was more rectangle. So this is just a real interesting fact to show you that faces do change as you age, as you naturally go through life events. Your faces have the ability to change. I just thought I'd share that. But again, really great square face, strong bone, action-oriented, and stamina. So it's broader, so it's able to have that energy. The knotty bit of your own jaw, this is, if you can feel that jawline, that angled jawline, that's telling you that someone's really strong in their beliefs, and this is what they believe, and they will fight for it. So thank God we had Winston Churchill. And then there's the loyalty, instinct, and they take risks. So they've got a little bit of the bone energy and the gin as well. These people like to be in charge and not to be challenged. So if we could imagine that Winston wouldn't take any, wouldn't roll over. I could imagine him being, nope, it's going this way. They're stubborn, willful, and determined, and you need that from leaders. They need to push through. It's a strong energy to really push on through. And you'll find these people also in contact sport. So this is where you'll see the athletes, because they've got the energy from their bones, but also the urge and energy to move forward and push forward. So here's a couple of images. We've got Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the left, and you can see that she's got quite the square face shape. Again, when I was looking for pictures, her younger years, she didn't have that shaped face. It was a different shape altogether. But as she's got older, it's become into a square shape face. And she's someone who has fought a lot, and she's a leader in her own right. She was on the Supreme Court Justice in America, and she was the second lady, but the first Jewish lady to be on the Supreme Court Justice. And she fought for civil rights, women's rights, and civil liberties. And I think that just shows that character to you. You have to be able to push forward, to challenge, and be able to make these, be a leader in some way. The gentleman on the right-hand side, Richie McGraw, he is a rugby player for the New Zealand All Blacks. And I don't know how many of you know much about rugby or really care for it either. But he is someone who's really well known, and he's a fine leader with the New Zealand All Blacks, who's won so many World Cups and competitions. And he was a captain. So not only did he lead his team, but he was in that contact sport. And his face is so square. It's really good to see that he's someone who would be able to push through to get those the rugby ball over the line and lead his team to victory. So again, really two clear examples of different people with a square face shape. So top tips for the square face for the leaders. This is, again, the energy of these people is to push forward and to lead. So they don't like followers. They want to lead. Now, if you might already notice this in yourself, you're like, oh, okay, this is, yeah, sounds a bit like me. Also, you might know a team member or two, or maybe there's some other people out there in the world that you really see this from. These people like to have respect, to be trusted, and given the freedom to do their work, their job. So finding aspects that you can share with them your respect, you know, wow, that was a really good job you did. And then sit back a little to let them have some space to be able to do the job. Giving them some more responsibility and really trusting them to complete it. And again, the trust can be sitting here just to really, you know, give them that space. I mean, if they're doing something wrong, you have to bring them up and pull them up and challenge on it. But if you can see that they're working well, give them more. Let them run with it, and trust them to complete it. Another way to work with them is to share your vision and encourage them by helping you to complete your goals. So this could be a really good way of just letting them get to be able to see, what is it I'm trying to do? Richard McGraw might have done it as well. Like, come on, guys, I want to get to the World Cup with the rugby. And be able to push through, and you know, you can do it, and encourage them. So really uplift them to help you to get to where you want to get to. The one thing that the square face leader would ultimately hate, and there's these energy, as we talked about the square jaw, that comes up because there's belief and there's a surge of energy, the strength of bone. These people do not like to be perhaps told what to do or micromanaged. So if you're a hoverer, oh, I don't like that, or don't think that works, or whatever, or you might know that about yourself as well. But it's just giving them the space, and that's why sort of giving them the trusting them and the freedom to complete, and encouraging them to do the job and do it well. So we've got some rectangle managers and thoughtful leaders. So very different face. Here we have President Biden. I took this image a little while ago, and you can see President Biden's face. The rectangle is longer than it is wider, and you can really see this in this image here. And this is an image that I had to search for it, because I think this might have been a good 4 years ago, if not maybe 6 years ago or so. Because if you look at his face now, it's really crumbling. And that's a really, obviously he's been in the news and so on. I don't know if there's been intervention, physical intervention, or if it's just age. But it's his face has really changed. His chin isn't there. His nose has changed. It's really, again, shows you how faces can change if there hasn't been physical intervention. I don't know if there has or not. But what we can say from this picture here is that he has that beautiful rectangle face. And this is a person you will find commonly seen in business, politics and royalty. So, for example, King Charles, Prince William, again, good long rectangle faces. Many politicians, we've just had a new government set up, and we have Sir Keir Starmer. He's our new politician, our new prime minister, very rectangle face again. And again, President Biden. So these are people that are authoritative, they inspire confidence, and they tend to like mentoring. They want to mentor and offer their thoughts on how to inspire others. They're idealistic and far-sighted. So there's kind of an energy of hope and optimism that can come around them. And these people will think before acting. So they're like the refined leader. The leader might just go, straight in and push in, and these people might consider and take their time before acting. And again, you might notice these people in your team, and they're really, again, they have that authoritativeness, but they have that inspiration and idealistic sights. So a couple of images here. We've got Kamala Harris, so President Biden's vice president, I think it's called. And she has a wonderfully rectangular face. So you can really see that, again, and into politics as well. So that thoughtful leadering. And we've got the image of Arnold Schwarzenegger as well, who's, again, another really strong candidate for the rectangle face. And he's an interesting character because he came to America as an immigrant from Austria, and he inspired lots of people with all his bodybuilding, and then moved into the film industry, where he worked his way and became quite a leader in his own right. And then, interestingly, he headed as governor of California, so a very idealistic state of America there. And he was the governor, and he went into politics. So, a face shape that kind of really shares how his journey has been and how he has lived his life. So really quite interesting there. So the top tips for the rectangle face, the thoughtful leader. These people love learning and growing. So finding things that inspire them as well, because of their nature of the idealism and inspiring others, they will be inspired by things they learn and grow. So if there's things like face reading hacks, you might want to send them here, or other things, whatever it is that inspires them to motivate them for growing. They really respond well to feeling valued and supported. Sometimes they can get a little stuck with their core beliefs or principles, but that's something you can share or speak to them and be able to open up that energy, that area there. Top tip for the rectangle face is validation. So really, if you can give them praise and positive feedback about how best to support them, how well they're doing, how you really thought that, with their presentation or work or that new client they got is just incredible. And really giving that praise, again, goes a long way because of their refined nature. And lastly, we come to the round face, the salesperson, and I've put that as the partiers as well. These people like to socialize. Great image here of Oprah Winfrey, very round face. And what we've got here is the fleshy cheekbones. Deborah won't mind me saying this, but Deborah's got that rounder face as well with the fleshy cheekbones. So we might recognize, some of our colleagues as well. These are the people that are most trusted. They have a childlike innocence because of their cheekbones. It's almost like you can squeeze them, and they appear friendly and open. Although friendly, open, and trustworthy, or feeling trustworthy, these people can be quite vigorous and impulsive, quite boisterous. They're wanting to socialize and connect. The larger the features, the more ambitious they are. The smaller the features, the more easygoing they are. So perhaps Oprah's image there with her features really shows her as an ambitious person, and through her lifestyle, she's a very lovable and likable character out there as a presenter and host of her own show, and many areas that she's worked with. So she's been quite an ambitious person that she has been. So these are a couple of images here. So Cynthia Barnes, I was looking for faces in business, and Cynthia Barnes came up, and she's an influencer salesperson. So she is in sales. And, you know, she looks like I'd buy something from her for sure. I don't want to buy something from her. She's got that rounded face. These are people that are really good at their job. I just feel like I trust her. Leonardo DiCaprio, obviously not in sales, famous actor, also rounded face shape. You can see Cynthia's features are a little larger, so again, quite ambitious. And maybe, I don't know Leonardo DiCaprio so well, but his features are quite small on his rounded face. So maybe there's some easygoingness with him. But again, these are really two images that give you a sum up of what they look like with a rounded face, those fleshy cheekbones. So top tips for rounded face for the salesperson. There's a Chinese saying my teacher would tell us that this is the merchant's face. These people are really good at sales, and it's not because they've got any special technique or gift. It's just that they have the ability to create trust, and we can see the face fully. You know, there's nothing hiding it. And when you can see that broadness of the face, they become more approachable and friendly. There's that likability as well. They can be charming and outrageous. There's an innocence, and they're childlike as well. So there's an energy here that just seemingly is contagious. A top tip for the round-faced people is these are people that are important. It's important for them to be around other people. They like to socialize. So they will work well with other team members and other clients. So having them facing your team and your clients, that will be their focus. That's where you're going to get the best out of them as well. So you can perhaps explore those avenues with some of those round-faced salespersons. So lastly, I've got some three images, and we can see a square, a rectangle, and a round face. And you've got all three of these images, and this gives you a sum up of what they look like next to each other. There are probably 7 or 8 different face shapes that I was taught. These three really sum up beautifully working well in business, and no one's ever one thing. A bit like the decision-making process, you might have 1 or 2 people or a handful of people that are, but there's sometimes a mix of a few other things. So you might have more of an oval face or a diamond-shaped face, and these things will tell us other information. But in terms of business, you might find you're more square, more rectangle, more round. And that will just give you a real sum up of what these people are really good at and how you can help them as well. So this is the end of our session today. So I've really enjoyed, again, sharing with you the decision-making process, the 3 zones, as well as face shapes for understanding your team members, your agents, and helping you to connect with those people. As I say, it's a lot of information to take in. It's more about just observing it or allowing it to come into your body and not to worry too much about really, we'll be back again repeating some of this. So I really appreciate you coming in today, and my email address is here again, so it's heal@sarahelcom.com. So if you want to get in touch, and if you have any questions for today as well, you can email them to me, but also Lindsay will let me know at the end. And also follow me on Facebook. It's at let's_face_it_face reader. And again, my website's letsfaceit.co.uk. So if you want to take a picture of this page, feel free to do so. Lindsay, I'm going to hand back to you, but thank you everyone for coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so interesting. We do have a few comments, questions.
Yes.
Chris Urquhart, who did have to leave, he said that he's a war between zone 1 and 2. He's got no hair and then a big bushy beard, so that kind of makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
And then when we were talking about the rectangle faces, Britta said managers as leaders.
Yeah.
And then Peter had a question. I heard from an Ayurvedic medicine trainer that people that predominantly breathe through their mouths, opposed to their noses, can change the shape of our jaw. How much do you think small nuances in our lives that can clearly or maybe not so clearly sometimes change our physique, like eating, breathing, or sleeping habits, might influence these physical aspects and how this translates into face reading and our overall personality?
Wow, that's a brilliant question, and a lot of moving parts to that. So there probably are things that you can do, like eating, sleeping, breathing. These will affect how you might be. So I tend to be a bit of a mouth breather, but I've not noticed anything in terms of my nose is thinner, so that's a whole other thing. But anyways, we have the ability to change our energetics. So we're talking in terms of that energetics, so Chinese medicine. And a lot of it is about not just how you eat, sleep, breathe, etc., but more about how you might feel things that maybe are blocked or not blocking. And again, things like I talked about earlier, so really tuning into your intuition to grow the chin, because it's to do with your kidney energy here. So this is why we talk about, and our kidneys are connected with our will, and they're connected with how we go out into like survive and tune into those spidey senses when we need them. And a lot of us have that energy and a capability to do it, but we just are conditioned to be more up here. So yeah, it's a really great question, and I think everything can have an effect. But as I talk about that, we're talking of energetics, so understanding your nature and how you are, your personality, your traits, as well as some of those areas that might be blocked perhaps from using your intuition. Why are you overthinking all the time? So I would explore those areas. But really, I would have to, if you could you send me Peter's email address, and I'll have a think and the question, and I'll have a bit more of a think about it and send something personally.
For sure. We can get you in touch with that.
Thank you.
And then that was all of the questions. It is in the chat. PeteSteiny@gmail.com or P.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, Peter. I'll
Yeah.
send an email. I'll read if Lindsay, you copy paste, or I can probably look at the chat and send that to myself as well. So I've got the question and I can have a bit more of a think about it. But great question. Thank you.
Yes, very cool. And that is all the questions. I want to thank you so much for being here today. You had quite a long commute.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's very helpful. And I think a lot of fantastic things that we can take and learn about ourselves and learn about our clients and how best to help them. So we look forward to seeing you in September.
September. Yay! Lovely. Thank you so much, Lindsay, and thank you everyone. And Deborah, safe drive as well. I'm not sure if we'll leave Deborah to the driving side of things. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. Work hard, but also enjoy it.
Alrighty, have a great day, guys.
Thank you. Bye.